Good afternoon, good evening, good Zinta, good y'all, whatever it may be, where you are. I'm Not Sports Cards. Hope you're doing well. Remember to like and subscribe, doing a thing. Every new subscriber this month, we're doing a new video. I've been doing a lot of YouTube shorts. If you don't watch shorts, you should go over there. Been doing show and tell, been doing ripping some packs. But today, just going to do a brief talk about graders notes over at PSA. I have to say that Neo Northeast Ohio Sports Cards, Comics, and Other Things did an interview with Nat Turner this week, which I found incredibly interesting. Hat tip to Neo. He did a pretty good job. There are definitely things I could pick on, but overall did a good job. But two things came across my desk this week watching that, and then a close friend of mine got grader's notes on a card. I'd mentioned in previous videos that he had a friend who sent a card in that got upcharged for no reason. So the way it is right now, you're only getting grader's notes on the express level 2500 and up. Nat Turner had mentioned that they're going to move it down. The intention is to move it all the way down to every card. Listen, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, first off, here's the video from what they put out a while back, which is a bit.
Attention retirees.
Nope, that's not it, right? Why are they? I'm not retired. I'm not that old.
What got
There we
between you
go.
and a PSA 10 was the edge frayed, was the
I don't. Again, I don't know. All right, forget it. Was the edge frayed? Was whatever. So they came up with this idea like 7 months ago, where they're gonna put graders notes in comics. I'm not a comic guy, but supposedly CGC's been doing this forever. They tell you why your card got the grade that it did. Switch over to here, go over to here, boom, boom, boom. They tell you the reason why it got there. It's somewhat similar to what Beckett had done with subgrades, right? But not really. What they do is they tell you like a thing why your card didn't get grade any higher. So I was mentioning I had a friend who sent some stuff over there. The reason I brought that up is he sent two cards. One where he had paid for Express, and one where they upgraded him from 1500 to 20, the 1500 level to 2500 level unjustified. That's besides the point. But he didn't get grader's notes on the one they decided to, increase the cost on, or whatever you want to call it. But the one that he sent in, they did send back grader's notes. And listen, we all, if you send cards into PSA and you get the card back and you're like, I don't know why this got what it got. Grader's notes are a great idea. I love the concept of what Beckett did with subgrades. I don't know why it didn't catch on. People just want tens. It's how the human brain works. They just want like a round number. But we also want to know why we got what we got. And I wonder, so I can't, I'm not going to be able to show, my friend sent me a shot of the subgrades. He got a 910 on a very big non-sports auto card. And he thought it was going to 1010. But the reason I'm not showing the grader's notes, I will read them. I think I've got to figure out how I can do that without revealing who, we'll see. We'll see if I can do that. I remember what it said, so it doesn't really matter. But I want to show you this. Okay? So what this says is that these grading notes are provided for your personal review only as a premium service level submitter. They are not part of the official grading certification, nor are they covered by the PSA grade guarantee. Don't know what that means. As you agreed to in the PSA grading terms, Human Centipede South Park episode, at submission, you may only use the grading notes for your personal use, and you may not, whether yourself or through a third party, directly or indirectly publish, to publicly display, recreate, sublicense, or create derivative works from any of the grading notes, any manner whatsoever, from here to infinity. What in the world are these people doing? So the grader's notes were, there was a touch on the upper left-hand corner. That was the whole grading notes. There was a touch on the upper left-hand corner. Again, my friend thought it would get a 1010. It is an explanation, but this was, I think, 100 and $75, $200 to grade the card. You couldn't do any more. And then you're like, you can't share it. Like, I literally can't show it to you because I'm afraid my friend would get in trouble for showing that. Why would you keep these things quiet? I don't get any reason. And Nat Turner's interviews like, yeah, people are happy that we keep them private. No, people. There's a difference between saying I can go look at a slab and read the grader's notes versus I, as a person who have paid for your stupid opinion service, can then share them to someone else. It's a bit ridiculous. So, like, this service has been offered for they announced it 7 months ago. This is the first time I've ever heard of anybody getting it or mentioning it, and it's complete and utter garbage. And if you go back and, there's so much in that interview with that Nat Turner did. And again, I feel for Nat Turner. Like, he's running a business, and PSA is a business, but, like, it is so incredibly obvious that there are things that they refuse to be transparent on. And this is just another idea of them refusing to be transparent. Is like, hey, we're gonna offer graders notes, but it's like also like, hey, we can't slow down the graders. They can't actually tell you. It's like, okay, we get it. It's Lucy on the chocolate assembly line, just trying to move those chocolates as fast as she can. But, like, man, like, to give one line on a $2,500 card, which is, we all know in theory the difference could be thousands and thousands of dollars. And I don't understand why they can't extend it to be like essentially it should be a form of subgrading, which is like, even if they were like, we found the card to be gem mint in all other ways except this. Like, Nat Turner's like, we're only going to give you the 1 point why we really gave you that grade. It's like, okay, sure. Like, there's so much inconsistency. I don't know what the point of this is other than to try to satiate people in the idea that there's consistency in the grading. But if you're like, I know why this card only got a 9, but I can't tell you because I've been sworn to secrecy by the NSA, the CIA, and the FBI here. Like, what is going on with these comments? I don't get it. It's like the idea, a lot of ideas that they talk about are, in theory, sound good. But the way you execute something determines whether it's actually real world good or not. And this right now, they're just flat out pathetic. So the idea that, man, there's just so much there at PSA where it is an impending problem of just a paradox, hypocrisy. There's all sorts of things going on there where it's like, you can't be in the opinion business, but the opinion be private, and also not accept, like, say that we're getting better, but not accept the fact that, hey, if we're getting better at creating opinions, that our opinions in the past were actually worse. There's so much there, and then Graders Notes was an opportunity for them to have more transparency on the highest level cards, and to give these one-line notes is kind of crazy. And listen, they dominate the market level that I don't even think is discussed properly. It's something else that I wanted to do a video on, which is about how big their market dominance is, because every month people look at the number of cards graded, and it's massive. But there are other metrics that actually make them incredibly more dominating. They just flat out own the market, and for good or ill, right? Like, which means that if there were some sort of fatal flaw inside of PSA, it would tank the whole market. And that's part of it. But Graders Notes, they're pathetic, man. Like, it can't be one line. Do we wait all this time to get one line? Just do fucking subgrades then. Sorry for cursing, but like, just do subgrades. Just tell, be like, just like 10. You only graded on 4. You graded on the same 4 things that Beckett graded on, right? Like, surface, edges, corners, and centering. Just give the damn subgrades in the Graders Notes. I mean, if you, like, he mentioned the idea that, like, oh, if there's, like, he's basically said almost all things where there are questions are surface, and they're going to, in the future, in the year 2000, they will send you pictures of, like, the place. That's all fine and good if it actually happened. But sending somebody a one line, there's a touch on the upper left-hand corner, it is something. I mean, that's the point. Is like, if we're just like, oh my God, it's something. They told us something instead of just sending our card back. Like, you know, I'm not supposed to just sit here and applaud it. I used to use this analogy for something different to describe different things, but it was like, if somebody comes into your house and takes a crap on your carpet and then cleans it up, you don't pat him on the back, right? Like, there's a Chris Rock joke about that. That's what you're supposed to do, right? I take care of my kids. That's what you're supposed to do. Like, yes, you're a grading company. Tell us why you graded it. Again, just they are PSA is in an incredibly unenviable position because they've become so dominant that they can dictate whatever they want, but they also are going to have people with pitchforks out at every stop. So there are good things that I can say about PSA, but this is not one of them. And yeah, I think it'll be years and years before you see graders notes on your average card. It'll be years and years. And right now it's grading express levels and above. Like, can you imagine paying? I have to go look. Like, what is the pricing right now? Service and prices. Cards. Okay, so what is it? Oh, so it's at $129. So it's hey, at $100. I was like, can you imagine paying $500 for a card? And they're like, centering wasn't so good. You have a smoke. Like, I don't know. It just seems so. I really wish I could show this to you. It just seems so incredibly unprofessional from a person who like makes a career out of being unprofessional. I know it when I see it. Yeah. Again, I'll do another video just covering everything that Nat Turner said in that interview, and I recommend you watch it. It's an hour long. Some of it is softball, and some of it, there's not a shit ton of information that he says that is overtly discussed that is important. It's when he catches himself and he kind of stops, and then there's one sentence where he got half out that was like frightening. There's a lot of frightening stuff in there relating to the PSA guarantee, just how they use card ladder, some frightening stuff that, like, as somebody who, if you're heavily invested in PSA slabs and the PSA process, it's troubling. But again, he seems like a smart guy who's been through a war. I don't know. Tell me what you think about grading notes. I know it's not a big deal. I don't grade cards at this level. I just think, listen, it just continues the disingenuous and lack of transparency they have. It's like, we've finally given you transparency, but not really, right? It's just whatever it is. I don't know. Got me worked up. I think that if you're going to pay $129 for a card to get graded, you deserve more than one line. Yeah. And to give you a window into a little more of what he said, is like, he basically said, there's a lot of contradictions in what he said. What he said is that we don't spend any more time on a card, theoretically, that is worth $2,500 than we do that one is worth $5. And I'm, in practice, that almost has to be true. But like, again, he also said that you're going to have to pay for graders notes in the future. Could you imagine paying $5 extra for, I don't know, look like some ink on there. I don't know, buddy. Time for a break. I don't know, man. Just remember to like and subscribe. You get to hear me rant and rave. I've got Albert underneath me. We're going to actually do some giveaways as Christmas gets closer. We're only like 19 shopping days away from Christmas. Yeah, so remember to subscribe. Every subscriber gets a new video. You learn stuff, and you get to hear me rant and rave. I'm not Sports Cards, and I am